Sorry about the delays there, folks. Having some technical issues. Sorry about the delays there, folks. Having some technical issues. Sorry about the delays there, folks. And I was getting feedback from the Twitch stream. I don't know if you all heard that. It is so weird to hear your own voice coming back at you while you're streaming. As I was saying, sorry for the delay there. I've been having some technical issues today, but hopefully things are looking up and up. I'm just doing some things on the socials. So just give me a second while I do this. No, I don't want that one. Just going to repost some things. I normally do this just before I start, but as I say, I've been having some issues, some technical issues today. So I'm just going to do this now quickly. And then we'll get into what the plan is for today. Okay, let's sort out. All right. So for today, I want to close down my Slack so that it doesn't bother me. I want to build something that I've been working on for a while. So it's kind of something that I've fiddled with a bit last week and the week before. Essentially, I want to build a course content publishing workflow. So I have, or at least I create my course content in Markdown. I have done since I started writing full-time 4 years ago. The company I was working for at the time used Markdown, and I found the flow to be pretty good. So I switched to using Markdown all the time. And when I create my course content, I do it in Markdown. So I usually have, just minimize this, I'll usually have a module folder. Inside the module folder, I'll have the lessons, and then inside the lessons, I'll have the lesson content in Markdown. I'm gonna music is a little bit loud, so I'm gonna just turn the music down a bit. And then what I usually do is in WordPress, because I've been using all the content I've been creating has been inside of Sensei for WordPress. I will go into Sensei. I will create the course. So let's create the new course now. Give it a title, my course, whatever the case is. Give it a description. Default course layout. Then I will need to add the I'll usually start with a blank course, and then I'll usually add, and this is kind of annoying, but I'll add a module, and then I'll delete these default lessons, and I'll go through that whole process. And then I'll specify the module name. So in this case, it will be, where is that now? How WordPress works, or whatever the case may be. So how WordPress works. And then I'll create the lessons, and I'll create the content structure, and then from there I'll edit the lessons. So let's say WordPress and web servers. And then what you do is you save the draft course, and then you can edit the lesson. And then what I usually do is I grab the markdown content, and then you have to go through this wizard flow, and then I'll usually paste the markdown content using paste as plain text, or paste, if you're on a Mac, it's paste and match formatting. And then WordPress, or at least, yeah, the block editor will pick up that it's that it's markdown, and it'll convert the markdown into blocks in the editor. And so now the goal is to push all that content using my cursor agent. Ideally, what I eventually want to be able to do is do it inside PHP Storm, to be honest. I've just started playing with Junie, which is PHP Storm sort of agent. I haven't quite figured out yet how Junie works with MCP and all that kind of stuff. So eventually, once I figured that out, I'll probably do it in Junie. But I am going to hopefully use Junie today because I want to develop some things. But anyway, the eventual goal will be using the cursor rules, or the rules for the agent, or whatever. We've got these lesson creation rules I've been working on over the course of the last weeks. It just goes ahead and does everything for me. That's the goal. So today I'm going to be creating that. I'm also going to be using a tool that I discovered recently called DeepWiki. DeepWiki is basically like documentation for your open source project. It works for any public GitHub repository. I think it's just GitHub. But what's cool about it is you can, if a project doesn't already exist in DeepWiki, you can add it. So I added Sensei about a week ago, and it builds up all this documentation, and then you can ask questions about the software. So in this case, you could do something like, how would I create a course programmatically in, let's say, PHP? And it'll then dig through the code and understand the code base, and then use an LLM, I think it's the Devon LLM, to give you some information. So it talks about the fact that you can use insert posts, blah, 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 blah. You've got course prerequisites, features, all that kind of stuff. So what's kind of cool about this as well is you can actually then say, show me an example, and it'll then generate an example snippet just like you would have in ChatGPT. But it's specifically working with this code base. So I found this to be pretty cool in, here we go. So it's showing you a minimal post. There we go. So it gives you a practical implementation. So insert post, course title, course da-da-da-da-da, all of that stuff. So you can then copy this out. You can use it in your code, whatever the case may be. So that's kind of what I'm going to be using today for some of my research, to kind of work this all out. I'm going to try and see if I can feed this information back to Junie to actually create the code for me. I'm going to try not to write too much code today. See how we go with that. I'm going to be using the feature API to register the feature in a standalone plugin. So we're going to have to do things like make sure Sensei is installed and active, make sure the feature API code is there. I'll dive through that with you in a second. It looks like there was an update 18 hours ago, so I don't know what changes were made there, but that'll be interesting. There's a license reference, feature available features. They added my composer require option. I'll show you what that is in a second. So there's a whole bunch of fixes that happened yesterday, so that's cool. And then I'm also going to be using the MCP plugin so that I can access my feature via my WordPress site, because I want my agent to talk to my WordPress site. If you're using the feature API, you want to build features for client-side requests, so inside of WordPress. You don't need the MCP plugin as far as I know. I think you can just get away with the feature API. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I specifically want to make requests from an AI tool. So that's the plan for today. I kind of have done some research around this already, so I do have a bit of a good idea in my head about what I want to do. That's one of the things that I've learned about coding with these tools, is doing some research up front is good. DeepWiki was amazing for that research, and I'll show you the questions that I asked it in a second, and what information it gave me back. And then we're going to use that to build this out. So I have created myself a little checklist. So I want to first create the course creation feature. So I essentially want to replicate the process that I would follow if I did it inside of Sensei. So I want the block to be added to the course. I want the lessons to be added. I also don't want this wizard that happens when you add a new lesson. There's a wizard that pops up. I have a feeling that's probably a custom field that's being stored somewhere, one of those hidden custom fields. So I might need to dive into the database a bit for that. There is an MCP server for SQLite that we can add to Cursor to actually talk to the database. So I might do that, which could be cool. Juanma, my colleague Juanma, shared that with me. If you've never heard of Juanma, I do recommend checking him out. He is a fellow DevRel, and he also let me see if I can find his. I think it's one of my codes. He also does Spanish live streams. Not that one. Here we go. So if you are in the Spanish realm, or if you speak Spanish, please go and check him out, because he does live streams in Spanish, which is pretty cool. He's also been playing with MCP like I have. He's way better of a JavaScript developer than I am, so he's the first person I reach out to when I want to figure out JavaScript stuff. So check him out. He's been doing some streams as well, but he was the one who told me about the SQLite MCP server that you can connect and you can talk to your database. So we might play with that one. I think I remember where that's hidden. Okay, so let's get started. And first things first, I want to register the feature. So let's start by building a plugin. So this is my local WordPress site. I do already have the MCP plugin installed, and I have the Sensei LMS plugin installed. I haven't installed the Feature API plugin yet because I want to include it with Cursor. I want the plugin to be installable anyway, and using Composer to manage dependencies and all that. So we'll get to that in a second. But let's first start by creating a plugin. So let's see how Junie will work for us. If you don't know what Junie is, I forgot to mention this. Junie is the JetBrains coding agent. So it's JetBrains' version of what Cursor does, essentially. It's kind of similar to their AI assistant, which came out a while back. But I'm finding it better than the AI assistant. It is a little bit slower than Cursor, but what I like about it is it actually tells you what it's doing while it's thinking. So I kind of like that. So I'll show you what that looks like and how it works. I do have a pro license for this. I am fortunate that I can get a pro license. I don't know why I don't like these examples here. I wish I could get rid of them. Anyway, let's start by saying create a new plugin in the WP content plugins directory, which will house our custom Sensei extension plugin functionality. Make sure to set Sensei as a plugin dependency. Check if Sensei is installed and enabled, and check. Actually, I'm just gonna do that. Let's give it a prefix. The plugin namespace prefix should be WP Learn. Okay. Let's see what that does. So it shows you that it's doing like thinking, planning, it's working. I kind of like this about Junie. It gives you a lot more feedback than Cursor does. It sort of sets up a plan. it starts sending requests. I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that I know what my agent is doing. So you kind of get an understanding of what it's doing behind the scenes. So it's, you know, it's just doing simple commands like ls wp content and then checking what's there. And then it's seeing what plugins are there. I don't know why it's opening WordPress MCP. I guess it's using WordPress MCP as an example. It's interesting that it's using WordPress MCP and not one of the others. Okay, so that's because I said WP learn. Okay, let's try this again. I think my prompting could be better. Create a new single, create a new WordPress plugin that will be content project. Plugin namespace should be WP learn, and the plugin namespace should be WP learn. Plugin slug / directory should be WP learn. Let's just say sensei content. And then let's say create a single plugin directory with a single plugin PHP file to begin. So let's keep it short and simple. Let's try it again. Okay, looks better. Okay, it's doing the same thing again where it's checking out MCP. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't mind too much. It's weird that it can't look that up elsewhere. Okay, so yes, I want to run that command. There is an option here to allow the command to the allow list. I kind of like that. I kind of like the fact that I can allow specific commands. It gives me a lot of control. Allow similar commands. I'm happy with that. So I'm going to allow similar commands to the command list. It's a make do command. I have no problem with that. It's kind of cool. You can kind of build up your allow list over time. So I do like the thinking there. Okay, there's the content created. It's creating the file. Let's see what it's doing. Okay. Alrighty. I mean, that looks pretty straightforward. I'm quite happy with that. I probably could have coded that myself in about the same time as the coding agent had to think about it. The Stratosphere Lounge says, "Hello, Jonathan. Sorry to interrupt the stream, but do you have a moment for a question on a plugin you developed for me?" I don't remember you, so if I did develop a plugin for you, it was either during a live stream, in which case, which plugin, or it was while I was being paid to develop plugins, in which case there's a what's the word I'm looking for? That was when I was at Codables, so there was probably a clause involved, so I probably can't talk about it publicly on a live stream. So you're welcome to tell me which plugin it was, and then we can take it from there. But I'm not prepared to answer that question yet until I have some more context. Okay. Paid integration with WordPress and Recurly. Why does that ring a bell? The Stratosphere Lounge, I'm happy to chat to you about it, but not on the stream if that's okay. You're welcome to hit me up via email. It's my full name, Jonathan Bossinger. In fact, I'll share it with you on my, I don't care sharing on my blog. And you're welcome to email me. If you go to jonathanbossinger.com and you go to my about page, there is somewhere down the bottom here is my email address. Yeah, if you click on that, that'll send you to my email address. Welcome to email me. But okay, I can guarantee you that's my email. So if you mail me, I'm happy to sort you out there. But that's going to take me away from what we're doing here today. So I'm not prepared to do it on the stream. I'm going to paste my mail in the chat. Welcome to mail me at jonathan.gmail.com, and I'll gladly get back to you. But I'm not prepared to deal with it in the stream today because it'll take us. I can't remember the projects. I'd have to go back to it. It's been a while since I worked as a freelance developer. Okay. So cool. No worries, man. Anytime you got a question about anything that I've worked on in the past, welcome to email me. It's literally my full name at gmail.com. And I will get back to you. It might not be the same day, but I will definitely get back to you. Recurly, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to have a look what Recurly is quickly. Subscription management. Doesn't ring a bell, dude. So email me and I'll get back to you. Okay. So I will say this though, if you're still around, I don't do freelance dev anymore. So I won't be able to help you with it, fixing it if there's a problem with it, but I can certainly point you to folks who do that. But it's been a while since I've worked as a developer. All right, where was I? I suppose I still kind of do work as a developer, but I don't do paid work as a developer anymore, if that makes sense. Okie dokie. Where were we? Oh, yes. So let's have a look at this code. A couple of things. What it's done is it's declared strict types as 1, which is basically it's getting from the MCP plugin. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the fact that it used a plugin to look at what it should do. The code is pretty decent. I mean, abs path would be an option that some folks use. WP is fine. Setting up paths and content versions and all that, I'm okay with that. My personal preference is to stick. I don't know if this counts as writing code, but my personal preference is to stick my initialization hooks above my function callbacks. That's just a personal thing. I mean, some recommend it. I do recommend it as well, but you don't have to if you don't want to. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with what's going on there. Okay. So the next step that I want to do is I want to start looking at the course structure thing. And this is where I found DeepWiki to be really, really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, how could I create a Sensei course with modules and lessons in PHP? Okay, so that's what I want to be able to do. And this is a series of questions that I actually have asked this already, so I kind of know what it's going to come back with. But I want to show you, it's kind of cool how it gives you this information based on what it's doing. And so the first result it gave me was you create the course, then you create the modules, then you create the modules, then you create the lessons and assignments modules. What's nice about this, if you've never worked with Sensei, you'll start learning that courses are a custom post type, modules are a taxonomy, lessons are a custom post type. So it's picking all that up from the code. It's giving you some suggestions. And this is essentially how you can do this. What I want to find out though is there a way that I can do this in one shot? And if you look down here, there is a course structure management class. So Sensei provides a source Sensei course structure management for managing the complete course structure. So you create a course structure with a course ID, and then you can get the structure and you can work with it. Okay. So when I read that, I was like, that's really, really cool, because if I can create the structure, if I can pass it in the lesson titles, the module names and all that kind of thing, and I can create the structure once off, that's kind of a win. So then what I said was, create an example of how you could create a course and its structure using the Sensei course structure class and an array of module names and lesson titles. because that's what I want to do. I want to put all the stuff together and just send it in one shot, like a REST API request. So now this to me is like the superpower here, because now I can actually take the code that it gave me in the previous response and ask a follow-up question, and then it'll actually give me, and there we go, it's giving me an example. So I can specify module names. I don't know why this is jumping like this. I think it's probably because it's generating. Yeah, it's still generating stuff. So let's finish this. Okay. So what I can do is I can set up the structure. So I can set up module names, lesson titles, right? And then I can create the post, and then I can create the structure. So I can generate a structure array with module names and lessons inside the module name. Okay. And then I can just create a new instance of the course structure class and hit save, and it will create that course. Now that's very, very cool. And that's kind of what I need for my feature. Because what I want my feature to do, send it an object or JSON object of data with module names and lesson titles. Maybe we can give it descriptions as well, but I don't need that right now. And then do that once off. So let's take this code. Is there a copy option? Maybe I can just copy it. Okay, let's take this code. All right. And what I want to do now is I want to pop this into a WP-CLI command because I want to run this as a test in WP-CLI. So let's do this, and let's tell Junie. Let's say done. Okay, that task is done. I like the fact that you can click done, and now you create a new task. That's a cool UI change. In Cursor, you got to press the plus or whatever. Simple little things. So now let's say implement the following Sensei course structure code as a WP-CLI command in the plugin. Let's see if this can handle this, because what it's going to need to do is it's going to need to register the WP-CLI command. It's going to need to implement the code. It'll probably need to do some external lookups. Maybe not. I don't know. Let's see what it does. Okay, it looks like what it does is, because I've created a new, whatever the word is, it's having to check every time, which is fine. I have no problem with that. Oh dear. That's not what I wanted. Let's put the includes directory inside of the WordPress, not inside the plugin. Oh. Looks like it's actually... It looks like it's actually figured that out. That's going to fix it. Cool. I didn't see that coming. Nice one. Well done, agent. I'm honestly super interested to see if whoever was on the stream now has emailed me, because I'm trying to remember what project this was. So while this thing is thinking, I'm going to have a look. Nothing yet. Okay. Okay, so this seems to still be thinking. Okay, so there's the core structure. Okay, so it's created the command. I like it. All right. I'd love to know what tests it did. Like, did it actually test the structure? Who knows? All right, let's have a look at the code. Okay. It's course title, course description. Cool. Okay, so there's the course content. Now, I don't mind the fact that it's done it like this because I do kind of want to test this. However, I want to clean up this code a little bit. So I want the module names, I want the structure to not be built up. I want the structure array to be hard-coded. So update the course structure command so that the structure variable is hard coded with the module and lesson structure, and it doesn't, and command doesn't require the module names and lesson titles arrays. Now, this is one of those instances where I know what I want, so it's easier for me to say that. If you weren't used to developing, you might be okay with what's there. I mean, you probably would refactor it and change things anyway. That's fine. So let's do that. Basically what I want is I want all of this to be removed and updated to include whatever the content was. Looks like it's doing it now. There we go. That's exactly what I want. Perfect. Because what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to pass the structure eventually into a function that the feature will use. I'm creating it as a WP-CLI command right now, just as a test. So that we can use that code as a final thing. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to take, yeah, that's fine as it is. Let's see if this works. So it's going to create the course. It's going to create the structures, hopefully. And we'll get some errors if it fails. Okay. So let's run the command. Let's hop on over into WP-CLI. Okay, since the content is not registered. Oh, I don't think I've enabled the plugin. Let's just do some cleanup here. Ah, what am I doing? Open that. Delete that. Open that. Okay. We need our plugin. Ooh, it's been deactivated due to an error. Okay, no more errors. Good. Let's see if there's a debug log while we're here in case anything happens. There is a debug log. Is it today's? Looks like there were some errors, but they seem to all be resolved now. So I'm going to clear this out. For now, I'll open up my debugger just now to check that out. Okay. So that's enabled. So now let's run the command. Create course is not a registered subcommand of sensor content. Sensei content, WP Sensei content. Create underscore course. So it didn't pick up that there was an error there. That's interesting. Let's just say create. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, so if you're wondering about these get class things, this is a Sensei deprecation that is happening for some reason. It doesn't seem to affect the code. There's a little message that we need, the success message that the course structure is created successfully. So let's see if that is indeed the case. So if we go into courses, yay, there's our course. And look at that, it has modules. Look at that. If we open it, it doesn't have anything. It doesn't have that block structure, so we might have to tell it to add that. It does have like some description-y stuff. So we might have to fix that. There are modules, so there they are. And there are lessons that belong to those modules. If I preview this course, you will see that you can take the course. And then it's got all the lessons. So it's all creating everything correctly, which is great. The thing it's not doing is setting up the markdown that I need. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to course outline. Look at that. Just by popping in the outline, it adds everything I need. The other thing I want is the take course, the course sign up at the top. So that's the block that I need. And if we have a look at the code editor, it's essentially this. It's the course outline and the take course. The modules and stuff, I think it'll actually just do it by itself. If you create the course accordingly. So what I'm going to do is grab this and add this to the content of the course. So let's take out this course description. Actually, let's tell Junie to do this for us. When creating the course, update the... Ooh, you know what would be cool? Let's see if I can get this to... how would I automatically add the course, what is it called? Does it take course? The course sign up. Course sign up and course outline blocks to the newly when I create the course. Let's see if it'll give us some code we can use. Trying not to write code today. Trying to get it all from AI. There we go, course default button. So when you add it, there we go. Programmatically, there we go. That's what we need. There we go. Course content, course content. Okay, so let's change. Let me see something. Yeah, post content, course description. Okay. So let's grab this. When creating the course, update the course description. Update the when creating the course, the post content must be block. Hey, Ryan! Ryan's getting me back for joining his stream yesterday. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Must be following block markup. So if you don't know who Ryan is the person who inspired me to stream. I'm going to share his YouTubes with you all. If you code in if you code in WordPress and you haven't heard of Ryan Welcher, then you're obviously living under a rock. But he's the reason I got into live streaming my WordPress development. So I'm so glad that we can hop into each other's streams. He has suggested raiding me at some point in time, and I don't think I'm ready for that. And Ryan, I laugh at my own jokes too, so it's all good, buddy. Okay. He had to learn from a real developer. Kevin, I will not be doing all that nonsense on my stream. Those of you wondering what I'm talking about, go and join one of Ryan's streams and you'll see what that's all about. Okay. All right, so this has done its thing. It hasn't removed the course description variable, which is now typical AI nonsense. Ooh, I think I've poked the bear. And it also hasn't, I mean, okay, this is a personal bugbear. I don't like it when the IDEs don't at least do that. It's just, I find it easier to read. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I understand it's going to be all white space when it gets added, but I just find it easier to read, so I'm leaving it like that. Okay. So, the other thing I don't want to do is I don't want it to be published. I want it to be in draft mode. I'm going to write that line of code. Okay, so we're getting somewhere. So this will be the basis of our feature. We're going to need to pass in the actual structure, which we'll get to in a second. So what do I want to do now? Yes, what I want to do now is start building out the feature. So in the plugin, let's see if I can tell Junie to register the feature API as a composer dependency. I wonder if that'll work. Okay, let's try. So let's create a new, so we're done with this one. I'm happy with where we are there. I wonder if now would be a good time to commit this into a repo somewhere. Let's do that first. So let us create a GitHub repository for all of this. What did we call this thing? Hope you learn Sensei content. This is where, not going to lie, this is where it would be cool. And this probably is possible because there is a GitHub MCP implementation. This is where it would be cool if I had this connected to my IDE and I could tell it to create the repository for me. Like, that's the next thing I need to figure out. I'm just going to do it manually for now. Hope you learn Sensei content. I'm going to give it a better... picky this way. Public is fine. So let's see if Junie can do this for us. So let's say in the WP, how can I give it context? There. Let's start giving it some context so it can actually work. I should have done this in the first place. Anyway, I'm doing it now. How do I? Oh, it can only do a file. That sucks. Can I not do a directory? Okay, let's give it a file. You can also create rules here. Project guidelines. Oh, it's guidelines.md. Huh, okay. I'm not going to worry about that right now. YOLOing it. Okay, so initialize, and I often wonder whether it understands American better than European English or UK English. Initialize the WP learn sensei content directory as a new Git repo and add the stream origin. Create a new main branch and commit initial code to the main branch. This is either going to go horribly well, or it's going to try and commit the whole WordPress directory. Let's see what happens. This is where it would be cool if Junie, if I could give it a whole project, which is fine. The current directory has been confirmed twice. Now it's switching to that directory. Okay. Unsuccessful. All right. It's there, promise. If you're ever wondering what your agent does in the background, Junie tells you every step of the way what it's doing, which I kind of like. Yes, okay. Get to net. I think that's going to work. CD, sensor content, get remote, add that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this kind of stuff is I think you can sort of pass this off to run in the background, which would be kind of cool. I like to just keep an eye on it now while it's sort of early days. Find it interesting that it can't like just stay in the active directory. Obviously, it only has it probably see. So it would have been better if I had it open in the project folder. But anyway, I like to have my whole WordPress open. Let's see if that worked. It did not. Oh, did it push? I don't think it pushed. It didn't push. Okay. Push the code to the remote origin. I love how long it takes to plan something as simple as a git push. It's weird to me that it can't do that and then stay there and then run commands from there. I guess that's just how these things work. I don't know, to be sure. But hey, okay, so okay, it's doing a status check while it's doing that. Yay, we have code. That'll get deleted later, but we have some code. Okay, cool. Still would have been quicker just to run it myself, but hey, we're using AI, folks. All right. So now what I want to do is this. So let's see if it can handle this. Let's go start again. No, I don't want to start again. I should have said done. Go back there. How do I say this was done? Start new task. That's what I want. Okay. All right. My life is going to be a lot easier if I just switch to the project folder for this. But I like having the whole WordPress folder open, so I'm going to have to just deal with it. Inside the WP sensor content directory. Initialize a composer. Initialize composer. Let's see what it does with that. I wonder if okay, let's do it this way. Let's say I want to use the WP feature API as a composer dependency. Or the WP learn sensei content block. And let's give it the link. And let's hope it knows what it needs to do. I'm going to go off mic quickly because I need to blow my nose. Okay. Let's see if it can figure out what it needs to do. Laziest bot ever. Yeah, I have to say the Junie bot is not as clever or as up to speed as Cursor. I'm really hoping it gets better. I really am. Because, oh, look at that. It's done inside thing. Oh, no, it's not in the right place. It's not in the right place. I'm really hoping it gets better because I really like working in PHP Storm. So here's hoping. So there's, okay, so it's created the composer.json. That's fine. It's gone ahead and auto-loaded that, which is fine. I'm okay with that. Okay. Each API is a composer dependency. Oh, it really is there. Oh, okay. I missed that. Ooh. Oh. I thought you were talking about that one. Oh, dude, I get them all the time. Yeah, I just ignore them. If you know of a way to like delete them or something, let me know. But I just ignore them. That made me laugh. So what I was oohing about was notice this. In the documentation, it specifically says make sure to use the latest version. So that's super interesting. You can ban them from the chat. Oh, can you? I didn't know that. Let me see if I can figure that out. You're gonna have to teach me how to do that sometime, dude. Oh, wait. If I click on them, does something... Ah. Thank you. I did not know you could do that. Okay. So I think I need to make sure it's using. Now, what's interesting, I don't know enough about Composer. I think the way it's configured, it's going to use the latest version anyway. I think this little caret means greater than, and it'll get the latest version. So let's leave it and see what happens. Let's say install the Composer dependencies. Okay, let's see what version it's installed. I think it will just install whatever the latest version is, as long as it's greater than that version. Yeah, it's version 15, so that's fine. Okay, so that's all good. So now I'm literally just going to copy paste this code. And then I'm going to ask Junie to clean it up for me. So I don't need. Yeah, I don't actually care about the autoloader. Okay, I don't need the WP-CLI command. I'm going to rip all that out anyway. The admin notice is fine. I'm happy with that. What I then want to do is I want to add the main feature API, where they talk about it here. So that's inside plugins loaded. So that's fine. So we can do the sensei check there. And then inside of that, we can do that. And then that hooks up with this, which is great. I don't consider copy pasting writing code, so I hope that's okay with you all, that I'm trying to vibe code as much as possible. If it isn't, tough. But I'm not writing the actual code. So then that's the register features. And then, okay, I'm going to register features. I'm letting Copilot do this for me. Yep, there we go. That's cool. Still not writing code. So let's grab this. There we go. Okay. Cheers, Ryan. Thanks for joining. Okay. So that all looks fine. I would prefer this not to be there, but I'll sort that out later. I want to do it a slightly different way. I don't actually need the auto loading, so I'm going to take that out as well. Just for now, we'll keep it super simple. Okay. All right. So now what I want to do is I just want to focus on the feature registration code. So let's first fix this. Let's give it the lane sensor content. Fix the error at the end of the. See what that does. All it had to do was add a closing bracket. But anyway, we didn't need all of this. Thing. That's funny. Like, we didn't need all of that. Anywho, what if that's what happens when you have multiple things installed? Because I've got Copilot and Junie working here. So we'll see. Okay. We're now getting to that point where I'm like, I wanna have a little bit more control just because of where we're at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Okay, so this is going to be put in sensor content, and it's going to be create course. PHP storm go away. Create course. And then I want course callback. Okay. And then I want all of this. Basically, don't need any of that. We're going to change these to some returns. So we don't need the log. Okay, I might get a little bit codey here because I know exactly what I want. Coding in JSON too long. I much prefer single quotes than double quotes in strings. It's just the thing I do. Okay. There's a structure which we'll replace with an object later on. That's fine. That I don't need to do because it's already part of the thing. That's already there. That's fine. Probably give it a course ID. That's fine. Okay. So that is, why is that an error? Oh, because I haven't done that. Okay, one thing I do want to do, I'm a little bit annoying that way. This is going to get, okay, this is going to get ripped out anyway, so I don't care about that. But this I want to change. No, I don't, do I? No, I don't need to, this I want to change. I'm a little bit old school that way. I prefer old school array syntax. It's just a thing I like. I know many people disagree with me on that one. It's my stream, I don't care. This one is going to be passed in as a JSON object anyway. So I'm going to just stick it at the top of the function. When I set up the feature, then it'll have context, and context will be passed. Okay. The title at the top of the window as well. Because we're going to get those in the feature context. So I'm worried about that now. Okay. So then okay. So let's update these. Let's say create a course description. Creates a course in Sensei with a predefined structure. There's the callback. Input schema. I think Ryan had this yesterday in his stream where I can just define it as an object and that should be good to go. Okay. There we go. So that should work. Okay. Let's see if that gives me any errors. Ah, there's an error. Thought that might happen. Okay, feature type must be type string. Feature type. Oh, I think it just needs to be. I think it just needs to be an empty properties array. Yeah. Type object properties array. Yeah. That's where I went wrong. I think that just works. Stop trying to add things I don't want. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158 159 160 This song is not doing it for me. Okay, what have we got now? Feature type. Oh. Feature type must be type string, null given. Oh wait, I had this example here is this the other day. I was busy doing something. That example there is wrong because if you look at the actual docs, needs an ID in the so this is where I went wrong. So this is ID and it's that, and this I don't know where this comes from in the example. So that works. Just verify that. Nope. Let's just go here. ID, name, description, callback, type. ID, name, description, type. Ah, yeah, it's one of these. Type resource or type tool. Type tool. It's got something to do with this. No, still getting errors. What if you reached a feature? Let's just see here. Feature array, ID, name, description. Reached a feature. Very simple copy, paste, changes, compare. ID, name, description, type. Oh, that should be right. What if I'm not using... Just check something. I might not be using the latest... Oh, I am. I'm going to just exit out of here quickly. What if the features adapter doesn't work if I don't have the feature plugin installed? As opposed to calling it in the plugin. Okay, let's... I was hoping not to have to code today, but looks like I'm going to have to code today. I'm going to just return here. Oh no, it is there. It does work. Let's disable it, which will probably mean that when I run this, it'll work. It's fine. Yeah, that's what I thought. But now if I try and enable the feature adapter, it's going to throw an error. Which happened to me once before. Yeah. Feature ID must contain only lowercase alphanumeric characters. Ah, that could be the problem. I think that's the problem. Don't think you can use underscores in the feature name. I think that might be the problem. There we go. Okay, so this is something that needs to be updated. In this example, oh, it is using hyphens, but that's not right. It's got to be an ID. I'm going to fix that quickly. That's what threw me. There. Fixes the registration example code. Okay. I'm just going to leave that like that. If folks don't mind. Okay, so that's my feature registered. And it should now be adapted to a tool because I've got the feature adapter enabled. So let's check. Right down the bottom here somewhere there should be a create a course tool. Yay! Okay, so it is a create tool, so we'll have to enable it. And there it is enabled. Okay, so now we test. Okay, so now let's see if this works. So this is going to just create the course with the structure. So let's just create the course. Let's just see what it is. Make sure the server's running. See, this is the point in time where I would usually stop and take a break and then come back and test this. No tools available. Why is that? It's definitely tools enabled. Let's enable the add post and add CPT tools. It's kind of frustrating. Let's see what VS Code says about that. What I do like about VS Code is you can open up the MCP file and start the server there. That's fine. So that picks up 41 tools. Why is cursor being weird? Let's close cursor down and open up cursor again. Let's just see. I managed to get Claude working the other day. It was a Node.js issue. I managed to get Claude working with my MCP service. So let's see what that tells us today. Oh, it says it's disabled. Getting all kinds of weird responses from my stuff. Okay, first of all, I want to check something. Oh, that's right. Oh, that's all fine. Weird, man. Try Claude again. Is it disabling Claude? What is going on here? It's running, but it doesn't pick up the tools. Guys, it says no tools available. Sorry. What is going on here? So, I discovered recently that there was maybe an issue with the tool settings because when I disabled them all, it was still showing. So I have a feeling there's like some kind of weird delay or something. One of the toggles is causing an issue. So I'm going to enable all the tools. Let's see if that makes a difference. I feel like one of these is probably causing a problem somewhere. And I just don't have time to debug it today. To be perfectly honest. Okay, let's try cursor again. In this log here. It's definitely finding tools. Let's delete this. Do a refresh. Setting request. Tools list. It's not finding tools. What if there's an error somewhere? There, list tools is there. So it does have tools. It's almost like it's taking a long time. Let's see. Let's see if I can just connect to the site. What can you tell me about this site? It doesn't have the tools. So weird. It's definitely listing the tools. I feel like this is a studio problem. Studio's too slow or something. Let's try stopping it and restarting it. That's fine. Okay, let's see what we can do here. This is a command I ran yesterday, so list the tools that are available. List the MCP tools that are available to create a course. Okay. It's not doing what I wanted to. That's working. Okay, so that is working. Okay, let's try creating the course. Create a new course. Failed to validate tool parameters. Properties must be an object. Okay, so I guess feature registration is the problem. What if I just take out properties? So it'll probably be property structure. Hang on. Let's actually give it properties, structure, type, object. Properties will be structure, type will be object, description, course, structure. Can take out defaults. Okay. Close that. All right, let's try that again. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm going to need to pass in the course structure. So let's do that. So let's just create a, I don't know why this isn't working in cursor. Ah, now it's working. It's like it is a delay when you disable tools. I must check with Em or Ovi about this. It's almost like there's a delay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that, and I'm going to, if there is a delay, maybe it's an async process, and when I disable it, doesn't happen automatically. So maybe that's it. Maybe I'm expecting it to be too quick. So let's just quit out of there. Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to get a basic structure. So let's take the structure array. We need the course title as well. So the context. So it'll be, oh wait, we need the type, object, properties. So we need two properties. Course title will be the one. That's good. Title of the course. So that's good. So course title will be one. Course description we don't need because it's already going to be created. And the structure we do need. So we need the title, then the structure. So then we can take, so the way the feature works is if it accepts a context array, argument. Okay, and then you can do things like this. You can go course title equals set. And it's going to be context course title. And then you can also inline this like that. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I can live with it here. And then the same for structure, and then the structure will be the array of information. So now I can take all of this out. Okay. And then we will say, let's see if cursor. It hasn't picked up there's an update. Let's see if this has. Still on 42 tools. Weird. Anyway. At least there's the create a course feature, so that's fine. Okay, so let's do it here. Let's say, let's close all this down. And then let's say new file, and let's say structure.txt. And let's say actually, let's do it this way. Let's say neat PHP course. There we go. And then we'll say that. Then we'll say convert the PHP array to a JSON object. So it'll do that for us. That's one of the things that these kind of things is pretty good at, is converting one thing to another. There we go. Okay. So that's our structure. Okay. Then let's say using the file name as the course title and the contents as the structure, create a new course in my WordPress site. Now, before I do that, I just want to make sure there aren't any courses there. Okay, let's go up from lessons. So let's just move those in. Just empty those out. And let's delete the modules. I was hoping to get this all done today. It looks like I'll get half of it done today and the other half done next week, which is fine. Gives me something to do in the stream next week. But let's see if we can get this firing. So there's the title, there's the structure, module, lessons. Let's go. It's adding a custom post type. No. Don't want you to add a custom post type. Cancel. So using the, let's give it a name. Let's try that. Permissions. Okay. Permission denied. Okay. I need to set up a callback. So there is a permissions callback option. For now, I'm just going to set it to true. We can always, oh wait, we can do it this way. There we go. So let's pop that in there. That's fine. That should then work. Okay. That was quick. That was quick. Did it work? Okay, it didn't use the title. So let's see. There was no input sent. Okay, I'm going to have to give it rules, very specific rules. That's fine. Did it create the structure though? That's the question. It created the outline. Did it create the structure? Let's see if there's the lessons and the modules and things. No lessons. Oh, of course it didn't. It didn't have the input. So I need to give it better context. So let's do this. Okay. So create a new course in my WordPress site. Set the course title input name as the human read as use the file name in human readable form as the course title input. So these are going to be things I'll probably put in my rules. Use the JSON object structure from the file as the structure input. Send those inputs to the WP feature, create a course tool. Okay. This could be because it's in Copilot. I think Copilot might be a little bit dimmer than Cursor. So just want to see if it can handle that. Okay. See, it's still not sending input. That's annoying. I wonder if it's because it doesn't have that input yet. Okay, well, the feature's working at least. We need to figure out the input issue. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I had this working recently in a gist somewhere. So I just want to have a look at what that code was doing. Oh, I was using the structure. I wasn't actually passing the structure yet. So I actually haven't done this bit yet. Okay, interesting. So I need to figure out how the inputs work so that it'll actually know to send at that input. Looks like that part's failing right now. I'm not quite sure how to figure that out. So I'm going to done the composer setup. We built the feature. Next steps, we need to figure out how to send the inputs to the tool. We built the plugin. I'm gonna move this above here. So that'll be the next step, is to figure out how to send the inputs to the tool. So we've got the tool created. It's just not receiving any inputs. I also want to figure out why it seems that tool registration seems delayed or not quite working properly. I'm still getting 42 tools when I refresh this. So something is not working in the settings. Because currently there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, a bunch, but it's definitely not 42. So that's something I need to figure out. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to commit this for now. I'm not going to get this finished today. So I'm probably going to continue next week. I'm kind of happy where we are. I would have liked to have gotten the inputs working, but so far so good. Hopefully I can wrap this up next week. So let's commit these changes. Commit and push the latest changes to GitHub. I'm just going to allow similar commands. Oh, it's because I'm trying to do it inside the. You know what? It's just gonna be easier if I just do this myself. Best commit message in the world. All right, so that's what I'm going to call it for today. Kev, if you're still here, thanks for hanging out. You seem to be the only one today. Otherwise, I'm going to go and continue this next week. Hopefully get this wrapped up and hopefully figure out how those inputs work. Thanks for joining. Bye.